Hello students, this is your English lesson. In this lesson, we are going to read a story, Three Men in a Boat, unit number 15 from Oxford Reading Circle 5. Let's get started. After you pass Old Winster, the river is somewhat uninteresting. George and I towed up past the Victoria Bridge. Towed up, pull a vehicle or boat along with a rope. And as we were passing Dashit, George asked me if I remembered our first trip up the river and when we landed at Dashit at 10 o'clock at night and wanted to go to bed. I answered that I did remember it. It will be some time before I forget it. It was a Saturday in August. We were tired and hungry. We seemed three, and when we go to Dashit, we took out the hamper, the two bags and the rugs and coats and started off to look for lodgings, temporary accommodation. We passed a very pretty little hotel with clamats and creeper over the porch, but there was no honeysuckle about it, and for some reason or other I had got my mind fixed on honeysuckle, and I said, oh, don't let go in there, let's go on a bit farther and see if there isn't one with honeysuckle over it. So we went on till we came to another hotel. There was a very nice hotel too, and it had honeysuckle on it, but Harris did not like the look of a man who was leaning against the front door. He said he didn't like a nice man at all, and he wore ugly boots. So we went on further. We went a fair way without coming across any more hotels, and then we met a man and asked him to direct us to a few. He said, why, you are coming away from them. You must turn right round and go back, and then you will come to the stag. Stag, a male deer. We said, oh, we had been there and didn't like it. No honeysuckle over it. Well, then, he said, there's the manor house. Manor? The house of the state. Just opposite. Have you tried that? Harris replied that we did not want to go there, didn't like the looks of a man who was stopping there. Harris did not like the color of his hair, didn't like his boots either. Well, I don't know what you will do, I'm sure, said the man, because they are the only two inns in the place. No other inns? He exclaimed Harris. None, replied the man. What on earth are we to do? Cried Harris. Then George spoke up. He said Harris and I could get a hotel built for us if we liked, and have some paper made to put in. For his part, he was going back to the stag. Harris and I sighed and followed George. We took our things into the stag and laid them down in the hall. The landlord came up and said, good evening, gentlemen. Oh, good evening, said George. We want 3 beds, please. Very sorry, sir, said the landlord, but I'm afraid we can't manage it. Oh, well, never mind, said George. 2 will do. 2 of us can sleep in 1 bed, can't we? He continued, turning to Harris and me. Harris said, oh yes, he thought George and I could sleep in 1 bed very easily. Very sorry, sir, again repeated the landlord, but we really haven't got a bed vacant in the whole house. Vacant? Empty. In fact, we are putting 2 and even 3 gentlemen in 1 bed as it is. This staggered us for a bit, but Harris, who is an old traveller, rose to the occasion and laughing cheerily said, oh well, we can't help it. We must rough it. You must give us a space to sleep in the billiards room. Very sorry, sir. 3 gentlemen are sleeping on the billiard table already, and 2 in the coffee room. Can't possibly take you in tonight. We picked up our things and went over to the manor house. It was a pretty little place. I said I thought I should like it better than the other house, and Harry said, oh yes, it would be all right, and we needed not look at the man with the red hair. Besides, the poor fellow couldn't help having red hair. Harry spoke quite kindly and sensibly about it. The people at the manor house did not wait to hear us talk. The landlady met us on the doorstep with the greeting that we were the 14th party she had turned away within the last hour and a half. As for our meek suggestions of stables, the billiards room, or called cellars basement, she laughed at them. All these corners had been smashed up long ago. Did she know of any place in the whole village where we could get shelter for the night? Well, if we didn't mind roughing it, she did not recommend it, but there was a little inn half a mile down the Eton road. We waited to hear no more. We picked up the hamper and the bags and the other things and ran. The distance seemed more like a mile than half a mile, but we reached the place at last and rushed panting into the lobby. The people at the inn were rude. They merely laughed at us. There were only 3 beds in the whole house, and they had 7 single gentlemen and 2 married couples sleeping there already. A kind-hearted bargeman, however, who happened to be in the inn, thought we might try the grocer's next door to the stag, and we went back. The grocer's was full. An old woman we met in the shop then kindly took us along with her for a quarter of a mile to a lady friend of hers who occasionally let rooms to gentlemen. This old woman walked very slowly, and we were 20 minutes getting to her lady friends. She enlivened the journey by describing to us as we trailed along the various pains she had in her back. Her lady friend's room were let. From there we were recommended to number 27. Number 27 was full and sent us to number 32, and number 32 was full. Then we went back into the high road, and Harry sat down on the hamper and said he would go no further. He said it seemed a quiet spot and he would like to die there. He requested George and me to kiss his mother for him and to tell all his relations that he forgave them and died happy. At that moment, an angel came by in the disguise of a small boy, and I cannot think of any more effective disguise an angel could have assumed. With a can of juice in one hand and in the other something at the end of a string, which he let down on to every flat stone he came across and then pulled up again. We asked this heavenly messenger, as we discovered him afterwards to be, if he knew of any lonely house whose occupants were few and feeble old ladies or paralyzed gentlemen preferred, who could be easily frightened into giving up their beds for the night to 3 desperate men, or if not, this could be recommend us to an empty barn or a disused or Lincoln or anything of that sort. He did not know of any such place at last, not one handy, but he said that if we liked to come with him, his mother had a room to spare and could put us up for the night. We fell upon his neck there in the moonlight and blessed him, and it would have made a very beautiful picture if the boy himself had not been so overpowered by our emotion and sunk to the ground, letting us all down on top of him. Harris was so overcome with joy that he fainted and had to seize the boy's can and half empty it before he could recover consciousness, awareness, and then he started off at a run and left George and me to bring on the luggage. It was a little 4-roomed cottage where the boy lived, and his mother, good soul, gave us hot meat for supper, and we ate it all, 5 pounds and jam tart, a bakery dish afterwards, and 2 pots of tea, and then we went to bed. There were 2 beds in the room. One was 2 feet 6 in bed, and George and I slept in that and kept in by tying ourselves together with a sheet, and the other was a little boy's bed, and Harris had that all to himself, and we found him in the morning with 2 feet of bare legs sticking out at the bottom, and George and I used it to hang the towels on while we bathed. We were not so particular about what sort of hotel we would have next time we went to dash it. Now come to the exercises. Questions. 1. Why does the author say, "It will be some time before I forget it"? Why do you think he remembers the episode so well? Answer. The author remembered his first trip because of all the trouble his friends and he went through to find a place to stay. 2. What objection did Harris have to staying at the manor house? Answer. Harris did not want to go to the manor house as he did not like the looks of the man leaning against the front door there. He said the man didn't look nice at all and thought his boots were ugly. Reference to context. Read these lines from the story and then answer the questions. 1. We passed a very pretty little hotel with clematis and creeper over the porch. A. Who was passing the hotel and when? Answer. The author was passing the hotel, stayed along with his friends George and Harris. It was quite late, 10 o'clock at night, a Saturday in the month of August. B. Were they carrying anything? Answer. The men were carrying a hamper, 2 bags, rugs and coats. C. Did they stay at the hotel? If not, why? Answer. They did not stay at the hotel because the author wanted a hotel with honeysuckle over the porch instead. 2. We fell upon his neck there in the moonlight and blessed him. A. Who is blessed by whom? Answer. The little boy is blessed by the 3 men. B. Why is he blessed by them? Answer. The little boy takes them to his house like a savior angel when they were exhausted in their attempt to find a lodging at Dashit. C. Where does the person who was blessed take the others and what happens to them there? Answer. The 3 men are able to spend the night at the little boy's house. They had hot dinner served by the little boy's mother. They had only 2 beds in the room. The smaller one was taken by Harris, the other shared by the author and George. Words and meanings. 1. What do you think these expressions mean? A. This staggered us for a bit. Answer. This surprised and unsettled us. B. Harris rose to the occasion. Answer. Harris exerted himself to meet the challenge or demand. C. We must rough it. Answer. We must live without the usual comforts and conveniences. D. 2 feet of bare legs sticking out. Answer. 2 feet of bare leg extending out as the bed was too small. Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.